I'm Billy Wallauer, and this is my audience. And if you don't have an airbag, the joke's on you. So, 25% of us has been in a car accident in the last 5 years, according to lawcore.com. If you're one of the 75% of us that hasn't, count yourself lucky. There is nothing scarier. One American invention that can make a car safer in case of an accident is the airbag. We can take advantage of this invention every time we get into a car, but the airbag has an interesting past and a promising future. The airbag was introduced in the early 1950s by John W. Hendrick, an industrial engineer and a member of the U.S. Navy. His design was gleaned from his experience with torpedoes, inspired by his desire to protect his family and their vehicle, according to Wikipedia.com. Airbags, however, would not actually be installed in cars until the early 1970s. Car safety was not a priority at the time for Americans and American car makers, and they weren't popular. They were originally marketed as supplements to the seatbelt. Shoulder belts became required by law in the 1970s, and the airbag was a way to rid the passenger and driver of these cumbersome attachments. Airbags would work with the lap belt to provide the required safety. It wasn't until the early 1980s that airbags were finally seen as a separate safety feature and marketed as such. Bout.com article on airbags lists the 1973 Oldsmobile Torpedo as the first car with a passenger airbag intended for sale to the public. Driver's side airbags would follow 2 years later. Now in the present, airbags work on, they require a perfect mix of form and function to perform properly. The first attempts at airbags involved the use of compressed air. It became obvious after many tests that compressed air was unable to blow up the airbags with enough force and speed as required in an accident. Therefore, engineers experimented with using different kinds of gases. The ultimate mix of sodium iodide and potassium nitrate produces nitrogen gas. Hot blast nitrogen inflate the airbag, according to How Airbags Work by Marshall Brain. Inflation happens when there is a collision force equal to running into a brick wall at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Sensors in the vehicle detect this collision and deploy the airbag. Here is a short video of an airbag deploying in real time. And I'm about to show you another video with an airbag deploying in slow motion. Even in slow motion, that airbag inflates pretty fast. So currently, the airbag has taken on many forms. In addition to the driver and passenger side airbags, cars can now be equipped with side airbags in case of a side collision, curtain airbags for rollover accidents, and knee airbags underneath the steering column. The current 2011 Ford Explorer also offers seatbelt airbags, and airbags are currently in development for motorcycles. Of course, as with all the devices, it is important to use the invention correctly. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia's Research Institute reminds parents that children under the age of 12 should never ride in front seats, and car seats should never be placed in rear-facing in front seats, like front passenger side airbags. Adults should also make sure that they are sitting upright using a seatbelt when driving with a car with an airbag. Seats should be no closer than 10 inches to the airbag. Following these safety rules will ensure that your airbag is available to provide you with maximum amount of protection available. Now, research has shown that airbags reduce a person's chance of dying in a car accident by 30% when used properly. Those 25% of us who have been there in recent years can attest that if an invention exists to lessen injuries in a car accident, it should be celebrated. As technology improves, so will the safety features available to car owners. Next time you're in a car accident, you can thank John Hendrick for keeping you safer. All right. And now I'm going to do a little Q&A. Yes, ma'am.
What is a seatbelt airbag?
Well, a seatbelt airbag is a seatbelt designed for the back seat. Just because they can't have seatbelts in the backs of chairs for the kids, it inflates and it keeps the kids safe. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question.
You, sir.
In this video here that we just saw of the slow motion inflation, what is the real time of that?
Split second.
Less than a second?
Less than a second. Less than a half a second. It's got to be instantaneous. So, is that it?
Okay.
Well, I'll ask another one.
Okay.
You mentioned airbags on motorcycles.
Yes.
How does that work?
That I'm completely baffled myself. I guess it's still in prototype development and they just don't want to reveal anything too much quite yet. All right. I think that about wraps it up. Thank you very much.